let's get into it. This is TeenSpace. Hello and welcome to the TeenSpace Podcast. My name is Danielle, your host, and today we're once again stepping away from the interviews for a little bit of an article study. I'm really excited about today's topic and honestly kind of relieved since it's something that so many of us feel but don't always understand. Today we're getting into Seasonal Affective Disorder, also known as SAD or more casually, Seasonal Depression. This episode will have 3 goals, the first being to explain what seasonal depression actually is, with the science, the symptoms, as well as the mechanisms. The second being to apply it to teens and young adults, and how it shows up, why it hits us differently, and signs to watch for. And lastly, third, to talk about what you can do. This will consist of real practical advice, as well as how to get help and who to turn to. So let's get into it. Our first section, as mentioned earlier, will talk about what seasonal depression really is. So, what even is it? Seasonal Affective Disorder, SAD, is considered a type of depression that comes and goes with the seasons. Most people experience what's called winter onset SAD, meaning symptoms begin in late fall or early winter and improve in spring or summer when there's more daylight. It's not just winter blues, and it's not just a slump. The American Psychological Association, which is where we're getting this article study from, explains that SAD is characterized by changes in mood, energy, sleep, motivation, and even brain chemistry, and the symptoms can last for weeks and sometimes months if untreated or not looked at. Some of these common symptoms of winter onset SAD include feeling sad or depressed most of the day, nearly every day, low energy or constant fatigue, oversleeping, craving carbohydrates, weight gain, losing interest in activities you usually enjoy, withdrawing from social things, trouble concentrating, and lastly, feeling hopeless or worthless. And in more serious cases, people might experience thoughts of self-harm. It's important to take this seriously, as SAD is a legitimate depressive disorder and not just a personality thing. But why does it happen? It actually comes down to light, or really the lack thereof. When winter comes, the days get shorter and darker, and less sunlight means circadian rhythm disruption, serotonin changes, melatonin overproduction, as well as vitamin D decline. With circadian rhythm disruption, our internal body clocks rely on light to stay aligned. When the sun rises late and sets early, your body clock will drift, and that will lead to the fatigue, low mood, and sleep issues that one might feel. In terms of serotonin changes, serotonin, as we probably have mentioned earlier in this podcast, is a brain chemical or a neurotransmitter that affects mood. Some people's serotonin drops with decreased sunlight. Regarding melatonin overproduction, melatonin is the neurotransmitter that helps you sleep. In winter, your body may produce more of it, which may make you feel sluggish or oversleep. And lastly, in terms of vitamin D decline, sunlight naturally helps your body produce vitamin D, and lower levels of that sunlight can be linked to mood changes. Once you put all of these together, it makes sense why some people might feel significantly different in winter. However, there's also a lesser-known form, summer onset SAD. It's rarer, but some people actually do get depressed in late spring or summer, and these symptoms are different. Here you'll see insomnia, decreased appetite, anxiety, and agitation. The point is, seasonal depression isn't a one-size-fits-all. It's real, diverse, and based on both biology and environment. Moving on to section 2. We're going to talk a little bit about seasonal depression and how it affects teens. Talking specifically about teens and young adults, this is where things really get interesting and honestly really important. A lot of people think that SAD only affects adults, but studies show that teens and young adults can absolutely experience it, and sometimes even more strongly. Here are some unique factors that make seasonal depression especially challenging for younger people, the first being school schedules. And as a student myself, I can definitely attest that when school starts in general, I feel tired or more sluggish because of the workload. But Winter hits right when school gets intense. This is when midterms, finals, college applications, and extracurricular pressure really hit high. When you're already overwhelmed, a shift in energy or mood can feel 10 times heavier. Additionally, as a teen, your brain is literally still developing, especially areas that regulate mood, emotions, and impulse control. So changes in sunlight and sleep can hit even harder. But alongside hormones and brain development, teens also struggle with sleep patterns. Teens already struggle with sleep because of early school start times, which is common amongst adults and teens. However, once you add less daylight and melatonin imbalance, your body clock becomes even harder to regulate, as I've said before. Also, with the culture nowadays to stay up late studying, or worse, doom scrolling, teens all across America are reported to have less sleep than they should already, which makes these winter effects hit even harder. Then there's also the component of social life and isolation. Since winter often means being indoors more, shorter days means less time with friends after school. This isolation is a major contributor to depressive moods. As social creatures, and especially in our developmental stages as teens, we need that social interaction. And sometimes that interaction just through a screen isn't enough. And lastly, I briefly went over it before, but with winter, there is that peak of academic pressure. Since winter has a stress season for high school and college students, once you're already feeling down, your grades or motivation will also take a hit, and that in turn creates kind of a cycle. For teens specifically, SAD might look like suddenly losing motivation in school or procrastinating more, as well as not feeling like yourself or sleeping too much, again, eating too much carbs or withdrawing from friends. And then there's also just in general feeling emotionally sensitive, crying easily, irritability, feeling exhausted no matter how much you sleep, or just a drop in your grades or effort. The most important thing is just to remember that seasonal mood changes don't mean that you're weak or dramatic. They just mean that your brain and body are responding to real environment changes. And noticing it early is powerful because you can prepare for it and manage it. This section will now talk about some of my real advice for teens and what I can attest to what helps. Obviously, I'm a teen myself, so you can take this with a grain of salt, but this is backed by some studies from the APA as well. Getting into what you can actually do, if you suspect that you or a friend might be dealing with seasonal depression, there are several science-backed strategies that you can try. The first is to get as much light as possible, which I know might be hard if you're trapped in school, but this is the biggest one. If you go outside in the morning, even for 10 to 20 minutes, or sit near windows, or open your blinds fully, or even just go for short walks outside after school, you're letting the light directly affect your serotonin and body clock, and increase production of serotonin, and regulate your body clock. It might be hard to make time for this, but again, your body needs the vitamin D, your body needs the regulation, and even going outside for a couple minutes to walk in nature, even if it's cold, to look at the sunrise or look at the sunset, that's what's going to help you connect to nature and regulate yourself. The first step should always be talking to someone if you're feeling effects of SAD or you believe a friend might. But once you get that help, a tried and true strategy to dealing with SAD is actually light therapy, or a light box. You'll use a bright light, usually around 20 to 30 minutes in the morning, and it'll replicate daylight and dramatically boost your mood and energy. Many therapists and doctors recommend it, and it's easy, safe, and doesn't really require medication. As I said earlier, try to get light from natural sources, or actually talk to someone if you think that you require some of these therapies. But moving on to more things that you can do for yourself, another good piece of advice is to just maintain a stable sleep schedule. I know it's easier said than done, but if you go to bed and wake up at consistent times, avoid oversleeping, use a sunrise alarm clock, or keep your room dark at night and bright in the morning, your body clock will thank you immensely. Again, this maintains your circadian rhythm, which is a big play in how you feel and your moods in the mornings and nights. Next is a classic, exercise. Moving your body is not necessarily a cure-all, but it really does help. So light movement, exercise in terms of stretching, yoga, walking, these will boost endorphins and help fight some of the sluggish feelings that SAD brings. Next, you can try to improve some social connection. I know winter makes it really, really tempting to isolate or just to sit at home on your couch alone with your phone, but connection is always deeply protected. Try to make more plans with your friends, or join clubs, or even just FaceTime if you can. Schedule times to go out to different coffee shops and try hot chocolates or seasonal menus. Go ice skating, so that'll compound both the exercise aspect with the social connection aspect. Try and see some movies that are out, or even just go walking with your friends in the snow. You don't have to be super social or even just go out of your comfort zone. Just try not to retreat entirely. Lastly, the next three kind of go hand in hand, but make sure you eat balanced foods, monitor your mood, and limit your screen time at night. Again, all of these are easier said than done, and I struggle with these myself, but if you eat balanced foods, you can stabilize your energy and ensure that you're really getting nutritional value out of what you put into your body. Obviously, winter is known to have Thanksgiving, the holidays, as well as New Year's, which make it really tempting to overload on desserts or sweets. But if you day to day ensure that you're getting your protein in, getting those vegetables in, you're really making sure to replenish the energy in your body that it desperately needs. And if you monitor your mood and notice the patterns and the changes in how you're feeling, that can help a bunch as well. If every year around the same time you feel a shift, that's valuable information. Write it down in a journal, track it, tell your parents, and you can plan ahead for next year. If you feel like you might have SAD, then this is a time to reach out to a physician or maybe a therapist. Lastly, as I said earlier, you should try to limit your screen time at night. This is something that I struggle with as well, but screens suppress melatonin, which is the hormone that helps you sleep. I know earlier we said that there is a melatonin increase in winter, meaning you're more sleepy, but if you stare at your screens too much at night, your regular melatonin production gets disrupted and you won't be able to sleep on time, which again, as I mentioned earlier, is a really big factor in why you might feel sluggish. So let's talk about something important. When should you reach out for help? If seasonal depression is affecting your school performance, making you withdraw from people you care about, changing your appetite or sleep drastically, causing constant sadness, creating feelings of hopelessness, or making you think about self-harm, this is a big sign that you need to talk to someone. You can talk to a parent or guardian, a school counselor, a teacher you trust, a therapist or psychologist, or even a doctor or pediatrician. You can also talk to your friends who support you or crisis resources such as the 988 Lifeline if you feel unsafe. But again, these contacts, these resources are things that I like to mention at every podcast. You hear me repeat the 988 Lifeline, or just talking to a physician, a therapist, a family member, a friend. These are things that, just in general, TeenSpace want you to realize are resources no matter what the instance is. If you're feeling bad or having a bad day, or even having a bad week or having a bad season, it's time to talk to someone about it since you're not alone. As much as we try to amplify your voice here at TeenSpace, we're trying to make sure that you know how to give your voice a platform. You've probably heard this time and time again, but I literally cannot stress this enough. Reaching for help is not weakness, and the different people you can contact are there to support you. And tying it back to SAD, some of the professional treatments that you might be able to receive are light therapy, talk therapy, especially CBT, which I actually talked to Dr. Toso about a couple episodes back, medication like SSRIs if needed, structured sleep changes, or lifestyle changes. Therapists and doctors can help you find out what works best for you, but it also doesn't hurt to do some research yourself. If you ever feel unsafe or have thoughts of self-harm, please reach out immediately. You can contact 988 in the US, as I've said 3 times now, a school crisis counselor, a local emergency room, or just your trusted adult. Again, your life matters, your feelings matter, you're not a burden, and you're a human being experiencing something real and treatable. It is never too late, and seasonal depression, again, comes with the seasons and goes with the seasons. So remember that these are only bad moments, and moments fleet. You have time to change, to improve, to become the person you want to be. So to wrap up, just to go over everything once again, seasonal depression is real. It's not laziness, it's not moodiness, and it's not something that you need to push through. It's a combination of biology, environment, sleep patterns, and light exposure, and it affects millions of people. If you're a teen or young adult and you feel that winter hits you harder than most people, then that matters. Please pay attention to the signs, take care of yourself, and reach out early. You deserve the support, warmth, and brightness, even when the seasons get dark. And even if you might not fit the technical, clinical criteria for seasonal depression, feeling the winter blues is still very much real, as it affects everyone. You might think of it in terms of plants. They're not dying in the winter, but they're conserving their energy, preparing for growth, and getting ready for spring. Humans will work the same way since slower seasons don't define you, and they're just seasons. Your body will react to less light whether you like it or not, and it's just about treating it and making sure that you feel your best even when. Thank you so much for listening today. If this episode helped you, please share it with someone who you think might benefit from giving it a listen as well. You never know whose life you might impact by passing this conversation along. Make sure you take care of yourself and reach out if you ever need help, and we'll be back to our regularly scheduled interviews next week. I'd like to quickly thank the American Psychological Association for coming out with this article. It's a very good debrief overview of what seasonal affective disorder is, and it'll definitely give you a lot of information just to once over read it and kind of confirm some of the information that I explained on this podcast. In general, the American Psychological Association, or APA, has really good resources for any type of psychological disorder or just psychology in general. So you should go check out some of their articles, especially on NAH. If you even have Instagram, they have an Instagram account where they post daily some tips, tricks, and just general advice when dealing with psychological disorders, especially when it comes to the time of year. Recently, they've posted about Thanksgiving and feelings of gratitude, as well as some stress, finding the perfect gift, and even just dealing with big emotions when you're seeing family for the first time in a while. But that's all from me for now. Thanks for being in the space with us. This has been the TeenSpace Podcast, and you can find all of our socials in the description below. Again, the resources that I've mentioned ad nauseum are there on our website for you to click and look through. Bye-bye! Thank you for sharing this space with us.